Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we have a really interesting mission. We're going to slice through the marketing of a product called Super Scissors,
Hmm.
and it features this very aggressively hyped flying blade technology.
Exactly.
The promises they make are, I mean, they're huge. They're positioning these as completely revolutionary.
Hmm.
Ultra sharp, effortless cutting. The idea is you can slice through, heavy cardboard, tough fabrics, even some plastics with almost no effort.
Right. It's supposed to feel like an extension of your hand, not a tool you have to fight with.
Yeah, exactly.
And that kind of language is precisely why we wanted to do this deep dive.
Hmm.
Our whole goal here is, consumer transparency. We need to figure out if this flying blade innovation is a real engineering leap,
Or something else.
or if it's just a fancy label to justify a premium price on what might be, a pretty standard tool.
Mm.
We're unpacking the reality behind the marketing.
Okay, so let's start with where they actually delivered, which, to be fair, was the physical design. Straight out of the box, they feel great, they're light, they're comfortable. That ergonomic grip makes them feel really balanced in your hand.
It sets a high expectation for sure.
It really does.
And what's fascinating is that for the easy stuff, we're talking low resistance cuts, like a piece of office paper or a thin plastic packaging, they work just fine.
Just as you'd expect.
Yeah, they glide right through those things. So, it confirms they at least have a decent edge. The blades are aligned properly. They do function.
And this is the big but. That's where the good news starts to run out. The real test, the real disappointment, came when the reviewer moved on to materials that need actual sheer strength.
The things from the ads.
The exact things from the ads. We're talking thick, cardboard, heavy canvas, fabrics with multiple layers.
And that failure really points us directly to the mechanical problems. When the reviewer put pressure on those tough materials, they hit noticeable resistance. There was
Wait,
drag.
it wasn't that clean slice.
Not at all. And this isn't just about the blade not being sharp enough. It really suggests a failure in the tool's basic structure when it's put under any kind of load.
Wait, so this flying blade thing, whatever it's supposed to be, it doesn't actually make it easier to cut. It doesn't compensate for the force you need.
It doesn't. And this gets to the technical core of the whole thing. See, cutting heavy material needs two things. Good steel, sure, to hold an edge. But much more importantly, it requires a superior pivot.
The hinge in the middle.
Exactly. High-end professional scissors maintain incredibly precise tension right there at the hinge. It makes sure the blades meet at the perfect angle constantly.
Okay.
With these super scissors, when you push them hard, you can see excessive blade flex. The pivot tension just isn't strong enough, and the blades actually start to separate on a microscopic level.
So flying blade is just a label.
It's a label that implies some kind of magic, but the reality is just mid-grade steel and, frankly, a subpar hinge that can't handle pressure.
That's a powerful insight. So the marketing term has basically nothing to do with the actual mechanics that matter most?
Precisely. And it raises a really important question about how these marketing terms can, completely skew your perception as a consumer. You hear flying blade, and you imagine something futuristic, low friction.
Yeah. Right.
Then you get home and realize it's just a standard pivot that can't handle real work.
And speaking of real-world use, we should probably add a quick note on just general utility. The blades are sharp, which is good, but there's no locking mechanism at all. So if you do end up buying these, you really need to think about storage to make sure they're safe, because they'll just sit open in a drawer.
So what's the final verdict here? What does this all mean for you?
Yeah, the bottom line.
The bottom line is that the super scissors are real, they are functional, they will cut paper and light household items just fine, but their actual performance puts them squarely in the budget or mid-range category.
A long way from the revolutionary tool they advertised.
A very long way. They're fine for light-cutting jobs. And that's it.
Absolutely. I think the key takeaway for you, the person looking for a good tool, is to just ignore the high-tech sounding marketing. Just dismiss it.
Yeah.
When you're assessing new equipment, you have to prioritize real-world stress tests. Look for reviews that show it being used on the hardest materials you plan to cut, not just the appealing descriptions like flying blade.
That's exactly right. And here's a final provocative thought for you to think about next time you're shopping. How often is an innovative-sounding name really just there to justify a higher price point? How often does it actually signify a real, meaningful advancement in how well a tool works? This deep dive really shows why it's so important to look past the ads and understand the actual mechanics.
A great point to end on. And just a quick disclaimer, this discussion is educational commentary and is not medical advice.